What's up guys, hello and welcome to another one of my videos. I didn't want to make a video for a while because I don't really have time for it, but like these changes are so... The 9.2.0 update is just so insane that like I had to make something about this, okay? Okay, so the point of this update is that they want to address tunneling and slugging. Now, tunneling and slugging, while it can be frustrating, especially for newer players or more casual players, is a part of the game that gives killer a certain competitive advantage. Now, it isn't a secret that the killer role is a bit too strong at the moment, which is why the killer queue times are so long, because nobody wants to play Survivor. Also, at the same time, the only people who do play Survivors are either like Survivor friends who are playing together, or you know, people who are really good at Survivor, enjoy playing Survivor, are Survivor mains. So I guess that something had to be done, but I think this is the worst possible direction they could have taken. This is so insanely bad. I think this might actually be the worst DBD update ever released, and I'm not joking when I say this. So we're gonna go through the update and we're gonna talk about it, okay? So if a survivor is left in the dying state for a total of 90 seconds during a match, they gain the ability to pick themselves up after fully recovering. Added the option to enable or disable this mechanic in custom games, that doesn't matter. Perks that enable you to recover from dying state, like Boon Exponential, will continue to function as before without needing to meet this requirement. Gradually increases crawling speed for survivors who are left in the dying state. Added the ability for survivors to recover while crawling. And updated several survivor and killer perks to account for these changes. Okay, so we don't know what these updates are, but let's just talk about this like with the information that we have here, okay? So survivors will now have base kit tenacity and base kit unbreakable. The crawling speed will increase as they recover. What this means is that the survivor who is downed and slugged will be able to potentially get to a pallet, or even crawl to the other side of the map and pick themselves up, because like if the killer leaves the survivor on the ground and goes into a chase, let's play you're playing like a mid-tier killer, right? If you take too long to down the other survivor, the survivor you first downed is going to go all the way across the map into a corner or something, or under a pallet, and recover and pick themselves up, because 90 seconds, it seems like a long time, but honestly it really isn't. And if this was the only change, I wouldn't mind it as much. It would discourage slugging, but we need to talk about slugging as a mechanic, okay? Some killers need to slug, okay? Especially low-tier killers can rely on this mechanic, especially in late game, to try to close the gap. Have you ever played a low-tier killer like Myers? Myers got a pretty nice rework. That's about the only positive thing about this that we're gonna talk about later. But like some killers need this, okay? They need it. I know it feels bad when a nurse or a blight does this, but some killers do need this. I mean, just look at this, okay? Look at how fast he's scrolling. This is tenacity speed. This. So I don't know what they're gonna do with tenacity and other perks that you know, survivors can interact with while they're downed. But like, this is insane. This is insane. What this does is, you know, removes one of the mechanics that the killer needs from the game, and this is pandering to a more casual player and to a newbie. And like, I'm not the best player in the world. I am a killer main, so... But I'm trying not to be biased here. This is not a good change, okay? I'm gonna expand on this a little bit later, on why this is so bad. When we go through the worst update here. If this was the only update, I wouldn't mind it as much. But like, in combination with this is just... The killer role is pretty much dead unless you're playing the top tiers. Okay, so when a survivor is hooked, their hook status is hidden from the killer. So what does this mean? This means, like, do you know when you're in a situation where the survivors are waiting at the last possible second before the hooked survivor hits stage 2? To unhook them. You know, sometimes you will run to the hook and try to prevent this so the survivor that's been on the hook can hit stage 2. Now this is borderline impossible to do unless you know exactly what you're doing, and you know there are perks like oh my god, the Rebecca perk, reassurance, sorry. You know, survivors could reassure you don't have the information on their hook timer, so this is just why when they're unhooked there is no notification and their hook status isn't revealed immediately. I mean, okay, so you don't get notified when they're unhooked. This is to prevent you from returning to the hook, and their hook status isn't revealed immediately, which means that you will see them as hooked even if they are no longer hooked for a certain period of time. This is disabled once all generators are completed. This is just dumb because once all generators are completed, it's very, very difficult to come back, unless you have like a full endgame build, I guess. Maybe endgame builds for killers will be better now, I don't know. Unhooked survivors gain the following status effect: haste, endurance, and elusive. Elusive is a new mechanic that's down here. Let's just go through it real quick. This silences grunts of pain, suppresses survivor aura, pools of blood, and scratch mark. So basically it makes them invisible. You can maybe still hear the footsteps, I'm guessing, but like it's crazy. It's crazy. No collision with other players, both killer and survivor. Do you know how huge this is? The unhooked survivor can run through you, can run through his teammates, and just get away. For free. Even if you manage to bypass this, they have this. Immunity to killer instinct and seize the killer's aura. Of course, these effects are lost when they perform a conspicuous action, but still, what this allows is people to heal under hook without you knowing that they're unhooked. An injured survivor can come and unhook a survivor, and they can both heal, and you will know nothing about this. If you have an aura perk, maybe you will see it. See the survivor that unhooked. But like, it's insane. I can go injured, unhook the hooked survivor, heal them completely, most likely, and the killer can do nothing about it. Basically nothing. All these effects are, again, like, once all generators are completed, you basically lost the game at that point. So this doesn't matter. Added a unique effect to the killer hook UI state that indicates the last survivor they hooked. So you can see, and this is important, do you know why? After completing a unique hook, the same survivor is not hooked consecutively. Killers get the following benefits. And you know, when you read this, you're like, oh, okay, well, at least, you know, they want you to 12 hook, and when you try to 12 hook, at least you get a reward. You get a bonus damage for the next generator kick, so kind of like pop. Temporary haste status effect. Temporary reveal survivors like Base Kit, Barbecue, and Chili that have less or equal hook states to the hooked survivors. So, which means that if you hooked a Dwight 2 times and then you hook a Claudette, you cannot. This doesn't work on Dwight, so you cannot see the Dwight. Anyway, these effects are slightly lessened for the Blight, the Dark Lord, the Ghoul, Hillbilly, and the Nurse. This is done for obvious reasons. There are a couple of other killers I would add to this, but like, come the fuck on, guys. Like, even they know how problematic these killers are, and they nerf them even more with this. But like, you know what? It's fine. Like, they're strong enough, so you know. These effects are disabled once. So yeah, like even if when you lose the game, you don't get this. Add new effects that disincentivize tunneling. If a survivor dies before 6 total hook states, all remaining survivors gain a repair speed bonus for the rest of the trial. For the rest of the trial. I know that the game is over, like when you basically tunnel someone out, but this I wouldn't mind so much if it wasn't for this. If the survivor that was last hooked is sacrificed or killed, generators cannot be regressed or blocked. Do you know how insane this is? So now, even if you tunnel someone out, you still get punished for it. You literally get punished for tunneling. Like, super hard. Do you know how big this nerf is? This disables Grim Embrace, this disables Ruin, I'm guessing. This disables Oppression, this disables Eruption, this disables Surge. Like, just what? Grim Embrace? Like, why? Updated several survivor and killer perks to account for these changes. Now, obviously, we don't know what these changes are yet, but still, like, this is so bad. And do you know who's gonna suffer most from these changes? It's gonna be the lower tier killers. B tier killers and below are gonna suffer very hard. And you know how you're like, oh, I'm so tired of seeing Kaneki every game, of seeing Blight every game, of seeing a nurse every game. Well, guess what? You're gonna see a lot more Blights, a lot more nurses, a lot more Kanekis, a lot more Draculas. Why? Because they can deal with this. They can play for 12 hooks. But imagine someone like Trapper playing for 12 hook. Or I don't know, a pig. This is gonna... by the way, this, especially this part, if a survivor dies before 6 total hook states, so this is not if a survivor is sacrificed, it's if the survivor dies. What this means is that Sadako is one of my main killers. If I still continue to play this game after this update, I'm gonna drop her because, like, this kills her playstyle. This kills Pig playstyle. And do you know what, for example, what Pig and Sadako have in common? They're both low-tier killers. Even after the buffs, Pig feels nicer to play, but she's still very, very much a low-tier killer. And so is Sadako. Sadako's... she has to play hit-and-run playstyle, and you have to, you know, if you don't get easy downs, you need to rely on your Condemned to kill people to try to win the game. And now you're gonna get punished for it. Because she has a hard time getting 6 hooks. It's not that easy against a competent team. Especially against, like, a competent survivor. And interestingly, one more thing I wanna note. When you have this, the survivor that... you're like... maybe you have 4 hooks, and you hooked, like... a certain Dwight, you hooked him 2 times. This Dwight can, for example, you're chasing his teammate, let's say a David, into shack. Do you know what Dwight can do? Dwight can stand on one of the entrances of the shack and body block you because you can't down him. If you down him, he's just gonna pick himself up. And if you hook him, you get severely punished, so he's basically immune at 2 hooks until you get 6 total hook states. So, what Swift teams are gonna do, I'm guessing, is they're gonna use one of the players as a bait, and that player is gonna make Killer a hellish to play, to say the least. Because when you tunnel someone out before 6 hook states, like... you can't regress gens, and survivors get permanent repair speed bonus. Do you know how stupid this is? I cannot believe that no one at Behavior saw these changes and said, guys, maybe this is a bad idea. Instead of nerfing the top tier killers, I'm gonna talk about that as well, they think this is the way to go. Or, like, again, like, if this was the only change they did, I wouldn't mind it as much. But in combination with this, the killer role is just dead unless you're playing like a top tier. It's just the role is dead. There's no reason to play killer now. I'm sorry. Okay, we talked about this. We don't care about this now at the moment. So let's just, I guess, talk about one of the positive things in this change. So Myers will basically function similarly to the old Doctor in a way. You have two modes. You switch between two. In Stalker mode, you can stalk, are undetectable, and you're slower. And you have Pursuer mode, where you have a bigger terror radius, 24 meters though. You get increased wall speed, bonuses to lunge range, break speed, stun recovery, and you cannot stalk survivors. When you fill up the stalk meter, survivors no longer become exposed. This is important. And you can activate it at will. You get these effects for a limited time. You get 4.6, so normal movement speed, bigger terror radius, and I'm guessing that this is another increased vault speed. And you get the slaughtering strike ability, which, you know, you hold down the power button, you reduce your movement speed a little bit, and you get a coup de grace, basically, just like a big coup, and you insta-down when you hit this. Interestingly, you can also destroy pallet with this. This is a pretty big deal. And if the survivor is on death hook, you can mori them. So, and to kind of like balance this out a little bit, you remove the limited pool of stock points, so you can stalk one survivor over and over again. The stalk range is reduced to just 32 meters, and there's no distance modifier, so if you're at 32 meters or like right next to them, you're gonna get the same amount. And moving while stalking has increased movement speed, but increased reduced stalk rate, so if you move while you're stalking, you get less of it. Add-ons are reworked. We still don't know what exactly his add-ons are gonna do. But this is one of the good changes. Myers really needed a rework. He was so outdated. I don't know how strong this will be. I'm guessing that maybe at the beginning, or maybe until people adjust, this is going to be strong, perhaps. But my prediction is that he's going to go, depending on how... But as I can see here in this GIF, the animation for... the power down, it goes down pretty fast, so maybe, you know, he won't have access to this very often. But this is a cool thing. I'm happy that they reworked Myers. He really needed it. The clown increased activation time, so basically they're trying to revert him to his old clown. He's gonna have you know, the same thing where the antidote is gonna activate a little bit faster, but it's not gonna be instant anymore. Honestly, I think Clown never should have gotten that update that he did. It completely destroyed the character, made him completely brain dead, even though Clown is... He's kind of... He wasn't brain dead before this update, you know? People don't like him playing against him, but in general he was not so brain dead. You needed to do some planning, you needed to put in some work. With this update, you know, like an actual monkey could play this character, and I'm not joking when I say this. Unknown got a little bit of buffs. Unknown is a strong killer. I'm not sure why they're buffing him, but this isn't really like a super meaningful buff. This is more of like a quality of life thing. Except for this part, increased movement speed, recovery after teleporting. I'm not sure about this. I think this might be slightly too strong. He already has an add-on that does this, so I hope they nerf the add-on at least, or maybe they change it completely. So they are weakened for a longer time, so you don't have to panic, hit them twice, because like I think you have like about... If the survivor is constantly looking at you when you hit them with your power, I think you have like about 5 seconds grace period to hit them again, or they remove the weakened, so... That's one thing. And the increased camera vertical range. This is nice. You want to go for like vertical shots. So these are more like quality of life buffs rather than just straight up, you know, buff. I don't know how strong this is. It could push him into some OP territory, but Unknown is already a pretty strong killer. He's just really hard to play. Yeah. Dracula. Okay, so Dracula got some nerfs. Slightly reduced Hellfire cooldown, increased total Hellfire pillars by 1, but reduce Hellfire charge movement speed and slightly increase slowdown time after casting Hellfire. So this is important because even though he has a lower cooldown and has one more pillar, what this does is gives survivors a lot more distance when you do get hit or if he misses. So when he misses, it's gonna be really punishing for him, and if he hits, you get a lot more distance, honestly, with these changes. Yeah. Wolf form got nerfed. Pounce attack charge time is increased. I've been vocal about this. I mean, you wouldn't know, but like if you catch my streams, sometimes I talk about balance. I've been vocal about this for a while now. I think his charge time on his wolf form is way too low, to the point where if he catches up to you slightly, you get hit no matter what you do. The counterplay to this is usually to like take a sharp corner or you know, get into a tile that has a lot of things going on, so he hits the wall. But sometimes it feels that there's no counterplay to the pounce attack. Increased centaur spawn time, I think this is a little bit overkill, but you know, Dark Lord Dracula is really strong, so I guess he needed these nerfs. And they made him easier to control while in bat form, adjusted his add-ons. Again, we don't know what this is. We'll see. Okay. Ghoul, so what they did with Kaneki is basically remove the kidnap tech. What this is, the Kaneki could vault the pallet after the survivor and hold them in place until he vaults over and just recover and immediately hit you. It was completely broken. Oops, sorry. They said it wasn't a bug, but they were gonna look into it. I'm still pretty sure that it was a bug and wasn't intended, but you know, at least that's gone. Kaneki is still going to be very strong. This doesn't really change much. Makes him slightly less oppressive, but he's still going to be very strong. Oh, the Oni. Okay, so hooking a survivor now spawns more blood orbs. Considering the changes that we just went through, he really does need this. The entire playstyle of Oni is to get the first hit, you get your power, and you try to snowball and down everyone and win the game. That's how Oni is played. The problem against a competent team is getting that first hit. A competent team will pre-drop, pre-run, will not allow you to get your first hit in. Then again, they made him a lot easier to play. Recently, I've seen so many Oni players. He's much more beginner-friendly. Yeah, I don't know. Like, he's really strong as well. Like, I would say at least top 7 killers, top 8. Really strong. But he does need this, considering that his main playstyle is getting not nerfed, it's getting removed. And updated various perks. So we still don't know what this is. We're gonna find out next Tuesday. But I'm not joking when I say this. The Walking Dead patch was bad because of the enormous amount of bugs and other things. But I think this in combination with this might be the worst patch this game has ever seen. Unless they do something with the perks that will sort of remedy this, I see no reason to play Killer. And if you do play Killer, I see no reason to play anything other than Nurse, Blight, Billy, who am I missing? Maybe Dracula, and Kaneki, of course. And I guess Spirit. Spirit is also really strong. Like, there is no reason for you to play anything other than that, because you're gonna suffer and you're gonna sweat your ass off trying to do what these killers do, but 10 times more difficult. Like, why would you do that to yourself? Even if you like the killer, like, I love Sadako, but sometimes I get so frustrated playing her, even now, that I just like, you know what, I'm gonna have a game of, you know, I'm gonna play one game of Kaneki, for example, just to, like, kind of wind myself down. Because low-tier killers feel really bad to play sometimes. then again, like, after these changes, you're gonna see, like, it's gonna be Nurse, Billy, Kaneki, and Blight every game. Every game. If you see a different killer, you better be happy. You better say thank you, Mr. Killer, for not playing this broken garbage. The last thing I want to talk about is the Nurse. And I'm still thinking of what to do with the Blight and Kaneki and Billy. But there is one thing I think could make Nurse balanced, and I've been again vocal about this for a while. What Nurse needs to do is to have her Spasmodic Breath add-on base kit. What does Spasmodic Breath do? When you blink, your blink is disabled for 60 seconds and you move at normal speed. 60 seconds is way too much, but like I think something along the lines of 15 to 20, maybe. You would still have a really strong power, and you would need to hit it, obviously. And then you can play Trace like a normal killer. The problem with all of the top tiers is that they're not really interactive. What can you really do against Blight or Kaneki? There's some counterplay, but like they don't really chase you. They run you down with their power. Same with Nurse, and somewhat same with Hillbilly, honestly. So I think this would be a good change for Nurse. Maybe add something like I don't know, like when you're not in blink form, like when your blink is disabled, you can maybe go through a pallet, for example. You can still get stunned by a pallet, but you know, when the pallet is dropped, you can go through a pallet. Or something like that. There could be some things that could be changed, but I think Spasmodic Breath should be base kit. So yeah, that's all I have to say about this. I think like this patch, if I've been playing this game for a while, if there is a patch that made me want to quit game more than this, I don't think there is, honestly. Like, even the Walking Dead patch with all of the bugs and everything, at least, you know, we didn't kill an entire role. This is, like, these changes are, you know, Survivor's unwritten rulebook. Just Survivor's unwritten rulebook, and, you know, casual players, I'm guessing that they're gonna love these changes. So, yeah, I don't know. Like the decision-making of behavior here is insane. Insane. But yeah, that's all I wanted to say on this topic. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, drop a like, you know, subscribe, yada yada yada. You can catch me sometimes on my Twitch stream if you want to talk more about this. But yeah, this is just, I don't know, man. I don't even know what to say anymore. Anyway, see you on my stream, or see you next time I upload, if I ever remember to upload. And yeah, thank you for watching, and bye bye.